is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon. We are continuing to follow a developing story that we were first to break at noon. We're awaiting word on the conditions of 4 children and an adult who were injured this morning after an Ada Borup West school bus crashed in northern Clay County. Investigators tell us it appears a pickup truck hauling an enclosed trailer failed to yield and collided with the bus. The school district superintendent says the students have serious but non-life-threatening injuries. And the Clay County Sheriff tells us the pickup truck driver has significant but also non-life-threatening injuries. We'll have more on this story on Valley News Live at 5.
You ever had sex on the beach? Right there, ladies and gentlemen, is that the kind of response that you would expect from a teacher, from a referee, from a responsible member of our community?
The fate of a former West Fargo teacher is going to the jury. Closing arguments wrapped up this afternoon in the case of 59-year-old Ronald Thompson, who is charged with luring a minor for sex. Prosecutors say he sent explicit and unsettling messages to someone he believed was a 14-year-old girl. It was an undercover officer. Thompson faces up to 10 years in prison if convicted. Well, the rain is gone, and in its wake, windy and cooler temperatures, and we're getting confirmation of some damage from yesterday's weather. Let's get the latest from Hutch. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much, and good evening, everyone. Heading into our evening, it's cold for all areas. As we head into the evening, we are also starting to hear a little bit more about some stuff that happened last night. Now, we did have some confirmation of about 7 tornadoes in the area, a lot of rainfall over an inch, and some snow out in the western Dakotas, including 7 inches there in Beach. This photo was shared with us just this afternoon from the Eagle Lake area. Now that's where this cloud is here. This is a wall cloud right here, lowering cloud base that's fairly large. And there was damage reported in and on the Eagle Lake area. Flipped boats, snapped trees, and felled trees. So we'll continue to work that and keep you advised of any updates to that situation there. And this is the track those storms took last night along the South Dakota border is where we had the stronger tornadoes and into southeast North Dakota. This one was kind of a little late during the 6 o'clock newscast is when it happened, and you can see it right here. It's this little area right here as it moved over the Eagle Lake area, not far from Frazee. For tonight, we're turning our attention to the cold that will take hold. We do have a freeze warning out for the western and central portion of the Dakotas, none of our counties. But we're going to be plenty cool. Cloudy and windy all evening in the 40s. Bundle up if you're heading out to cheer on the home team. We'll be near those upper 30s at bedtime. I'll have details on some frost and when we're expecting it coming up here, Mike, in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Hutch. It's that time of year when people start using space heaters, and area fire departments have serious warnings about them. Do not plug your space heater into a surge strip or extension cord. The current needed for that space heater is too much for the extension, and it can start on fire. You need to plug your space heater directly into an outlet. Still no word on the condition of a man who rolled a vehicle he is accused of stealing earlier this morning in West Fargo. The white SUV was reported stolen in the 1200 block of Queensway. Police say the thief broke a window to get inside. Later, that same vehicle was spotted along Veterans Boulevard and then rolled during a police chase. His name has not been released. An already convicted sex offender is now spending more time behind bars for sexually assaulting 2 young girls. Matthew Odegaard from Gwinner, North Dakota, was originally charged with 5 counts of felony gross sexual imposition against victims under the age of 15, but 2 of those charges were dismissed. Odegaard was convicted of the other 3 earlier this week and sentenced to 3.5 years in prison with 5 years of supervised probation. State records show that Odegaard is already a convicted felon and registered as a low-risk sex offender from sexual assault charges back in 2016. A 60-year-old woman from Sioux Falls has been convicted of manslaughter in the death of her newborn son, whose body was discovered in a ditch 40 years ago. The newborn, known as Baby Andrew, was found wrapped in a blanket in a cornfield ditch of Sioux Falls in 1981. An autopsy determined he died from exposure. Now, police arrested Teresa Bentis in March of 2019 after investigators reworked the case and determined through advanced DNA testing that she was the mother. She entered an Alford plea of first-degree manslaughter in an agreement with prosecutors where they dropped 2 murder charges. President Biden received a briefing from his COVID-19 response team today about the latest in the fight against the pandemic. Now, this comes as the White House pushes for new vaccine mandates and an independent FDA advisory committee debates whether booster shots are needed for those who have already received the Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Skylar Henry has more details from the FDA headquarters in Silver Spring, Maryland.
The number of new COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths is declining, which President Biden says is because of an increase in vaccinations.
I'm asking everyone who hasn't gotten vaccinated, please get vaccinated. That's how we put this pandemic behind us.
The Biden administration is finalizing a mandate that all businesses with more than 100 workers require their employees be vaccinated. A new study shows more than 90,000 American deaths since June could have been prevented if they were vaccinated.
Vaccination requirements should not be another issue that divides us. That's why we continue to battle the misinformation that's out there.
Vaccine mandates are already facing legal challenges. Wednesday, a federal judge in Texas blocked United Airlines from putting unvaccinated workers on leave. While the Biden administration pushes for Americans to get their first vaccine dose, an FDA advisory committee is looking into whether people with the Moderna or Johnson & Johnson vaccine need a booster shot.
Over time, there is still relative preservation of the effectiveness of the vaccine against preventing hospitalization, yet there seems to be a decrease over the course of time against overall COVID-19 that was observed.
The group will also look at a new study which shows people with the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine may be better off switching up and getting a booster shot from the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Silver Spring, Maryland.
A vote on the Moderna booster shots is expected sometime today. The group is scheduled to vote on the Johnson & Johnson booster tomorrow. The CDC, meanwhile, will have to approve the booster shots as well before they become available to the public. More than 10,000 workers at John Deere went on strike overnight. Members of the United Auto Workers Union walked off the job at midnight, saying Deere and Company failed to present a contract agreement that met their demands and needs. The vast majority of the union rejected an offer earlier this week that would have delivered 5% raises to some workers and 6% raises to others. In a statement, Deere said it will keep working day and night to understand our employees' priorities and resolve this strike, and operations will continue as normal. Millions of retirees on Social Security will get a 5.9% boost in benefits for 2022. That's the biggest cost of living adjustment in 39 years. The change follows a burst in inflation as the economy struggles to shake off the drag of the pandemic. The increase amounts to $92 a month for the average retired worker. The increase affects household budgets for about 1 in 5 Americans. It's all hands on deck in Washington state as stalled cargo continues to affect the global supply chain. As many as 15 ships were anchored yesterday outside the ports of Seattle and Tacoma. In addition, warehouse centers are also stretched to the max as a strained trucking industry hampers the ability to get cargo out of the ports. The Northwest Seaport Alliance said it has extended gate hours at both ports to minimize the impact of cargo congestion. Crews have also been accepting empty containers at facilities in case truck drivers may be able to pick up an import load along the way. Well, there's a buzz in Wahpeton as someone is $1 million richer. Whoever it is holds a ticket that matched 5 white balls for last night's drawing. The ticket was sold at the Cenex C-store, which will also get $5 grand for just simply selling the ticket. This is the second time a $1 million Powerball ticket was sold at this same location. And just in case you haven't checked your ticket, the winning numbers are on your screen: 23, 29, 49, 59, and 60. The Powerball was 15, and the Power Play multiplier was 2. Valley News Live is teaming up with Gigi's Playhouse for a final fundraising push. All week we've been sharing stories with you about the major impact that the Playhouse is making on families throughout our region. Gigi's is the state's only Down Syndrome Achievement Center, and because of the fire, they've had to cut programming in half. This is video of their temporary space that's barely meeting their needs. Donations are needed to help them rebuild. They don't get any government funding when the programs are free to their families. To find a way to donate, search Gigi's on our VNL News app and click on any of the stories that pop up. Later in this newscast, the story of a little girl, a missing teddy bear, and how the two were able to find each other.
And over the last week, we've had several rounds of rain, improved drought conditions up and down the valley, a lot fewer areas in the extreme drought, minus north central portions of Minnesota and northwest North Dakota. But we got rain last night, over 2 inches out west. This was not a contributing factor to that. The cold is moving in.